Hey guys, in this video we will be learning about coordinate geometry, and I'll just start off with the straight line. Alright guys, so this is how we draw a graph of a straight line. So as you may already know, this is the x-axis of a graph and this is the y-axis. This is the negative coordinate of y-axis and this is the negative coordinate of x-axis. And this is the center, which is 0. Alright, so let's say we are asked to draw a graph of a straight line with the coordinates as x is equal to 2 and 5, whereas y is equals to say 2 and 6. Okay, so let's just write the numbers up first. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so the first point on the graph would be the x1 and the y1. That is the first number of x and the first number of y, which for both is 2. So x-axis, go to number 2 and see where it meets when y is equals to 2 as well. Y is equals to 2. It meets over here, so this is our first point on the graph. And the next one would be 5 and 6. So x is equals to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whereas y is equals to 6, the topmost point. Let's just draw a straight line. Yeah, so this is our second point. So the graph would be, when you connect these two together, the result would be what the question asked. That is the straight line that you needed to draw. Alright, so this is the x1, y1. This is the x2, y2. Given x is equals to 2 and 5, y is equals to 2 and 6. So now there will be additional questions related to the graph, and a very common and typical question would be find the gradient of the slope. Now gradient is actually the height of the slope, that is this slope, and you have to find the gradient of this slope, and there is a specific formula to find the gradient of the slope, but for that you need to know what the formula is talking about. The formula is y2 minus y1 is equals to m into x2 minus x1, right? So m is our gradient. We need to find this. You know what y2 is. Y2 is number 6 and y1 is 2, whereas x2 is 5 and x1 is 2. So if you rearrange this, you will get m x2 minus x1 equals to y2 minus y1, or m is equals to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. Okay, so let's see what happens when you calculate it. To find m, we need y2 minus y1. y2 is 6, that is the second number of y. 6 minus y1 was 2. I'm sorry if you cannot see this, if it's not in the camera. Yeah, so by x2 minus x1, which is 5 minus 2, equal to 4 by 3. Therefore your gradient is m equals to 4 by 3. That's the answer that you are requiring, that you were asked for. Alright, so what if the question asks you to find the equation of the straight line? So it's very simple basically. Let me just erase this first. The equation of a straight line is y equals to mx plus c. always remember this. Y equal to mx plus c is the basic equation of a straight line. So where m is the gradient that you just found out, that was 4 by 3 if I remember correctly, and y and x are just, they will be just there, they will not change. There are no specific numbers to be assigned for them, so y and x will stay as they are, and c is the y-intercept. C equals to y-intercept, and by y-intercept I mean that C is the exact point when the graph crosses the y-axis. Say this is your y-axis, this is your x-axis, and the graph is like this, right? So when you're calculating, you should find out where the graph crosses the y-axis. So if you extend this line furthermore, you'll see in a real graph paper, obviously, which would be very precise, this point, this is the y-intercept that you're looking for. So whenever you are asked to find the equation of a straight line, first find out the gradient of the graph, the straight line that is, which is m, and then find out the y-intercept, and then you're good to go. So if we were trying to figure out the straight line equation of that, the previous example that I've shown you, where the gradient was, the gradient was m equals to 4 by 3, you would have to just simply write y equals to 4 by 3x plus c, and c is the exact location where it crosses the y-axis. Yeah, so when you're considering a straight line, drawing the graph of a straight line, you should always remember two certain equations which will guide you through to solve all the questions that are related to it. The first one is you should always find out the gradient. M is equal to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, and from there you get the gradient from there, and when you're asked to find out the equation of that specific straight line, you simply put the m in this equation, y equals to mx plus c, where m is the gradient that you just found from here, and c is the y-intercept, that is the exact location on the y-axis where the graph crosses. Alright, so now there's another situation may arise where there are two perpendicular lines given and you need to find the gradient of them. So say a line in the I'll just draw a new one. Okay, so a graph is given like this and the line is passing by like this, and there is a perpendicular line, a straight line which is perpendicular to this specific line, which goes like this, and you'd have to find the gradient of one of those lines, and you are given the gradient of one line. So in this case, what you need to do is you need to remember another formula, that is m1 into m2 is equals to minus 1. The gradient of the first line into the gradient of the second line is always equals to minus 1 because they are perpendicular to each other. So say if the gradient of this line is equals to 2, and you need to find the gradient of this one, which is m2. Simply multiply 2 into m2 equals to minus 1. Therefore m2 would be minus 1 by 2. So this is how you find the gradient of a perpendicular line. So basically these three are the most important formula that you need to remember during your during the chapter. So just to be clear again, let's just remember these three formulas. Excuse me. Number one is the gradient, the formula to find out the gradient. M is equals to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. The second one would be y equals to mx plus c, which is the equation of a straight line. M is the gradient, and the third one would be m1 m2 equals to minus 1, where if you are asked to find out the gradient of one straight line when there are two straight lines and they are perpendicular to each other, m1 equal to gradient of line 1, m2 is equals to the gradient of line 2. You simply multiply them and the result would be minus 1, so you can easily find out the gradient of one line if the other one is given. So that's it from the straight lines, and if you have any questions, please do comment below and like and subscribe. Thank you very much.